some fun?
Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna have some fun here at Infosecurity, if I want the proper name, 2026 here in London. How are things?
Doing great, having a great day.
Yeah, it's a nice busy day here on the floor. Nice, great demo, an overview of Sumo Logic.
Yep.
So people who don't want to listen to us, they can watch this here. But in all seriousness, you're doing some great work, and we're going to talk about some of the things you offer organizations. Before we get into all the goodness of Sumo Logic, though, a few words about your role. Yep. Maybe a little look back on how you ended up here.
Sure.
To kind of help frame what we're going to talk about today.
Sure. So I'll start in the way back.
All right.
So I was an industry analyst for a long time, went into product marketing, have gone through a number of open source companies, taking open source to market, and then got into kind of the incident response world. I was at PagerDuty for a long time, and then arrived here at Sumo Logic to run product marketing and take all our, as you mentioned, all of our wonderful technical capabilities and bring them to market, bring them to customers.
Yeah. And that's the fun part.
That is the fun part.
Right? Because you have all this great tech. Now let's make it work for the folks that are going to invest in it and in their business.
And be able to explain it in terms of business value.
Exactly.
Right? Because there's this group of folks that care about the bits and the bytes and the technical gobbledygook, and then there's the folks who usually sign the checks,
right,
who will say, okay, what's the business value?
Yeah, what am I getting us? What do I return?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's set the stage with kind of an overview of Sumo Logic.
Sure.
Maybe, if you have a view into its roots and how it arrived to today, that would be a good thing to do.
Sure, so Sumo Logic has been around 15 years, SaaS-based from the beginning, from day one, running on AWS, so always since then, so AWS is a big partner. About 4 exabytes of data a day processed, so exabytes, a lot. We've got about 700 employees, 2,000 customers, and just over 700 integrations. So partners are a big part of the mix as well.
Right. Partnerships are good. Maybe we'll touch on that.
Sure.
Give me the broad stroke use case where most customers get the most value out of it.
Sure. In 2 words, incident response. So something bad happens, whether it's on security or observability or log management, and your system is down, you can't process sales, you can't do anything, and you need to get back up and running. And it's called MTTR, mean time to resolve.
Right.
Getting that mean time to resolve number as low as possible. Right? The holy grail is mean time to resolve to 0. Nobody's there yet, but if you think about it from an operational business value point of view, if your company is worth $40 billion and I can reduce your MTTR by 20%, that's a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's what Sumo Logic does. We focus on security. We have a SIM to help SOCs keep the business up and running. We also have an observability solution and log analytics, so we can help on that side of the business as well. And then we just introduced earlier this year, of course, our whole agentic AI approach, right? You got to fit in.
And I mean, the technology's there, you may as well use it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the big thing for this show in particular, with AWS, as I mentioned, is we are part of the AWS Sovereign Cloud for the EU. So that's what we announced today. We had a press release on it. And the 2 main benefits there, I'll just touch on briefly, is for sovereign data in country, companies are basically having to make a choice. For sovereign data in country, companies are basically having to make a choice. On one side, they have their incidents, right? So they have to keep the company up and running. Or they have a whole list of regulations that they have to adhere to or they're going to get fined. That always doesn't work. They kind of have to make a choice between the two. Generally, companies will choose to keep their business up and running. So by us partnering with AWS in their sovereign cloud here in the EU, we can have Sumo customers or new prospects for that matter who want to check off that other side and say to the governing bodies, yes, we cover all of that. Right. They can move their data to the EU, still run on the Sumo platform, so you still get the benefit of the incident support and incident management, but you're also checking off all the boxes that the data is here, there's EU staff looking at the data. So that's our big announcement here at this show.
I love it. So much to unpack there. It might seem simple, but there's a lot going on there. So let's talk briefly about this world of sovereignty. I think the fact that you're a part of that environment makes a big difference. So talk to me about what that looks like in terms of looking at it from a business investment perspective.
Sure.
And just like trying it out and onboarding and the whole.
Absolutely. So I think two words I'll use there. One is moving data, or two examples. One is moving data and one is scale, right? So I'm old school, we're both part of the silver-haired kind of group. In my head, I always think nothing good ever comes from moving data, right? Because moving data, we're 2026, moving data is still hard. However, AWS has figured that out, right? They're really good at that. By the way, they're really good at scale as well. So if I, as a vendor, are going to one of my customers, my prospects, and saying, hey, we're part of the AWS mental checkbox for a customer, right? Sovereign Cloud for EU, and they're an EU vendor, or they have EU operations. There's some checkboxes there on, okay, I can get my data there, I can get it operational, I won't have any downtime, and I'll be able to meet all of the regulations. And I think that's the real benefit, is the combination of the two, of AWS and Sumo Logic in region. It becomes almost a no-brainer for companies. We'll see if that happens in practice, but that's my marketing theory.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, do organizations really grasp that their security operations should be part of that as well?
Sure, they do, and we're focusing on 4 verticals, or use cases within verticals now. So we're focusing on 4 verticals: finance, healthcare, telco, and government. Highly regulated industries. So to your point, do companies get it? Do they grok it? The highly regulated ones do, right? Because they're trying to figure out how to deal with those regulations. By the way, those regulations generally were not written by a technologist. So they're trying to grapple with that because they're already in a highly regulated industry. So the problem becomes compounded for them over time. So the opportunity is, hey, I'm going to have Sumo handle my incident management. I'm going to have AWS move and support my data, grow my data, because I'm hopefully going to grow in region. I'm in good shape.
So give me a few, 2 questions. So
sure.
I'll bundle it all together. You can tell me a little bit about it. So there's AWS customers that bring Sumo Logic in. There's Sumo customers that want this capability. They move on to AWS. They're not an AWS or a Sumo Logic customer yet.
Right.
They want this and they come to for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't need details on all 3 of those, but I'm assuming all of those scenarios are supported?
Sure. I mean, we support the other hyperscalers as well.
Okay.
So, short answer, yes. Our focus initially will be on our installed base, multinationals, right? Who right now are probably dealing with, okay, what do I do? We'll have a solution for them. And then in-region companies, so companies that are headquartered here in the EU, and then companies that want to move. That maybe they have a competing incident response organization that isn't in the EU. We're going to give them something to think about.
So you solve the sovereignty problem that kind of gets you where you want to be, literally, right?
Well done.
And then you still have to run your security operations. So what else do you do for your customers to kind of help them do that?
Absolutely. So we offer a full-featured SIEM. So everything that the SOC needs to keep operations up and running, alerting, reporting, diagnostics, and repair. And our agents, so our agentic approach that we launched earlier this year, is an add-on, if you will, to help with that. So we have a SOC analyst agent that'll be GA at Black Hat later in the year. And we also have an MCP server. So can you use the SIEM without the AI component, which you're probably thinking, yes, of course.
Right.
But if you want to be able to use an agent to manage some of this, our approach, I'll give you one example. So our approach with the SOC analyst agent is you're not going to get rid of any agents. We're not suggesting that. We're actually suggesting that there's always a human in the loop. However, some of the tasks that you have one of your expensive SOC analyst agents doing, why not, a tier one analyst agent doing, why not have an automated agent do? And I'll give you an example. You have figured out you had a problem. Something broke, Sumo alerted you, we gave you recommendations on how to fix it, you took those recommendations, everything worked, you were an extremely happy camper. However, you realize soon after that was one server that failed. You've got 600 others worldwide that are the same exact configuration. So let's say you have to do a patch on the other 599. No reason to use a human for that if we've already proven what the solution is. Let the agent, with human oversight, go off and do that. Much better use of time, money, resources, human brain power, all of it.
So what's that look like to, who's making that decision?
Purchase decision?
No, the decision to say, we saw this, we responded in this way.
Sure.
Now, let's deploy that.
CIO, CTO, Chief Information Security Officer, the SOC can report into different places, but it's usually somebody at that level who's making those decisions. Okay. And that's who, we talk to them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think you want the economies of scale and the ability to...
100%, well, it all goes back to one of the first things I said was business value, right? We've proven the technology works, we can prove that to the techies. To your point, the person who's signing the check wants to know, what's the benefit here? Well, the benefit here is you automated what, I'll make up numbers, would have taken 3 weeks of man days into an agent running and got it done over a weekend.
Right. While you're offline.
Right. Well, somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching, but the business could be.
Yeah. Right.
So you're not doing during critical, assuming you're not in business that operates.
It's like, remember that line from Ocean's 11? Somebody's always watching. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, good scenarios. Talk to me about an actual customer or two, named or unnamed.
Yeah.
That was wowed by what you offered and helped them uncover and get new results they were unable to do before.
Sure. I mean, I'll talk about our press release today. So we had 2 customers mentioned in there. So we had Genesis, which is a very large customer for us, and they are using all of our technologies. They are our first customer in the Sovereign Cloud for us. And then another company that's anticipating to move, but they are very excited about it. To your question on who's going to kind of come and do this, it's a company called OpenPaid, which is in the payment processing. Okay. So again, highly governed, highly regulated industries that are anxious to move into, in this case, into the Sovereign Cloud and use the Sumo SIM, Log Analytics, use our agents, use the full platform to realize business value.
So give me some more examples of some outcomes that some of your customers have. Sure.
Well, I already mentioned the SOC and saving time in the SOC. Let me talk about the other side of our observability and log analytics, right? So organizations there are just getting overwhelmed with logs, right? All the data is in the logs. They're just getting thrown at them, and the interesting thing is they're getting structured and unstructured data thrown at them. And I'll explain what that is. So on the structured side, so just to way oversimplify, think about it as something that would fit neatly into a row or a column in an Excel spreadsheet. The example I always give is a zip code, right? So in the US, it's either 5 numbers or it's 5-4. That's structured. I know what it is, I know how to think about it. On the unstructured side, you've seen this, we've all seen it. You'll go on a web page, you're trying to do a transaction, and you get some weird message that's got some webhook error message with a bunch of hieroglyphics and an Nginx or something message that the firewall had XYZ. There's no rhyme or reason to it. They're all different character links, right? Unstructured.
Means something to a computer.
Well, here's the thing. For our log platform, it means something to us because Sumo can read both structured and unstructured. Not everyone in this market can.
Right.
They have to kind of normalize the data and touch the data. We don't have to. So to answer your other question, speed, right?
Back to the MTTR.
Exactly. It's all about speed because the faster you know what happened, faster you know what broke, again, whether it's structured or unstructured, the quicker you can fix it, right? Or quicker you can identify the problem. MTTI, mean time to identify, right? So you start there and you work your way to resolution. So that's something from a customer point of view, that's a giant benefit that we provide on that part of our business, as well as the SIP, but on that part of the business.
Good stuff. Well, Bill, we'll chat with you for hours.
Yeah.
I think we'll have a chance to connect in Vegas.
Perfect. Thank you.
So good.
Yeah.
Good to hear what you're doing at Sumo.
Thank you.
And everybody, thanks for joining us for this Around Spotlight. Connect with Bill and the Sumo Logic team. Stay tuned for more coming from InfoSec 2026.